What's going on, guys? I've got another Nintendo Switch 2 grip review for you guys. If you've been following along with my channel, I've checked out a bunch of Switch 2 grips. I started out with a couple Savage Raven products. I've tried out the Stand Grip, Neo Grip. I checked out the Play Vital Beyond Grip, a J-Saw split protective case, checked out a Coops split case that actually is very similar to this dbrand one. And I just recently checked out the Satisfy Zen Grip 2, which I did a review on, and that was easily the most expensive grip that I've tried up until now. And my general feeling on the Zen Grip 2 was that it was a great feel in the hand, but it just didn't necessarily work for me because I really don't have too big of hands, and it just made the whole Switch 2 in handheld mode a little bit too big, a little bit too heavy for my liking. And there were a couple other things that didn't completely sell me on that product. So I figured since I checked out the Zen Grip 2, I might as well just go for it and try the Killswitch 2 since I hadn't done so. And I do get questions every now and then about the Killswitch, so I figured I would purchase it and try it out. The Killswitch 2 is the most expensive grip that I've tried so far, and I think it's the most expensive like pure grip. Even more expensive than the Zen Grip 2. And if you want a too long didn't watch, this is my favorite Switch 2 case. It's not even close, really. Like, I feel like this is the complete product, the most tailor-made product for the Switch 2 that fits my hands and my ergonomics better than any other grip. But obviously the price is an issue and it really is expensive. This bundle, which is the travel kit, would be $80, and that's before tax. You can get the $60 kit, which doesn't include the travel cover and doesn't include the thumbstick grips, but I actually think it makes more sense and it's a little bit more economical to actually get the two. If you were to get the essential kit, which is a $60 one, you wouldn't get the travel cover and you wouldn't get the thumbstick grips. You would still get the dock adapter and you would still get the actual grip case itself. So it's up to you whether you need or want the thumbstick grips and the travel cover. I will say both of those quote unquote add-ons are very good. The travel cover it's good. It's not amazing, but it does have a nice little bungee mechanism, which we'll talk about. And I really like the thumbstick grips. It'll be up to you to decide whether you want to spend a little bit more for those two things or not. So let's get started with the build quality, and I think this is where the dbrand Killswitch 2 separates itself from basically every other grip case. Just taking off the Joy-Cons here, as you can see, that's one of the selling points of the dbrand, the fact that you can actually detach the Joy-Cons. This is the upgraded version, by the way. If you guys don't know the backstory, dbrand came out with the Killswitch 2, but it had some issues with the Joy-Con grips. It was just a little bit of a flawed design that had people, when they were holding the Switch with just from one angle, from one side, it would end up falling because it didn't have this reinforcement here on top and on the bottom here. And I think they also changed something with the actual sides, where I think the material was coming over on top of the Joy-Con that was causing a little bit too much of a gap here and up here. But as you can see, they did fix that and now it's perfectly flush. So you can already tell that they just nailed this. This is like a one-to-one fit. As you can see, it's just completely flush over here, on the bottom here, on the bottom here. And you can just tell, like, it looks like it's tailor-made for the Switch 2, and it is. And you can tell that they really took their time with it. Of course, they had the Joy-Con problem, but they fixed it pretty quickly, and they were quite nice about it. For people who had already bought the Killswitch 2, they sent them free replacement joy lock grips, so that is pretty cool. The materials used on the dbrand Killswitch 2 are just so nice. I don't know what I was expecting. I guess for the money, I should have been expecting a premium product like this, but I guess I wasn't totally sure what the materials would feel like. The materials, I think, are actually the standout for this case, because on this Joy-Con, you see these little 3 strips here. These are kind of like the grip, which I think they have it on their iPhone cases as well, if I'm not mistaken. They're like a smooth material, and you don't really feel it. And I don't know if they actually do that much in terms of getting you the proper grip, but what does do the job here is certainly this material over here, which is like, it's almost like, it's like a sandy type of material, like a sandpaper-ish type of material. I don't really know how to explain it, because it does feel a little bit rubberized, but it doesn't fully feel like rubber. It's like kind of just sandy, kind of grainy, but it feels so freaking good in your hands. Like, it's easily the best materials I've used on a Nintendo Switch 2 grip. In a way, it kind of reminds me of some iPhone cases that have a similar material where it's a little bit rougher, so that when you're actually gripping it, you don't feel your hands slipping at all. And this does a really good job of that. My hands also don't get very sweaty because of this material, so this material is an A+. Then you get to this shell in the middle, for the tablet itself. I did attach this little piece that comes in the package that you put on top of the kickstand. You don't need to put that, but what I found was if I didn't have that piece on the kickstand, when I had my fingers like this, it would kind of touch the little indent where the kickstand is. So I figured I would put the piece with the kickstand in, and I think it's just better with it on. So the material on the middle piece is a little bit different. As you can hear, it's a plastic, and it does show a little bit of fingerprint, so that is a little bit annoying, but it's not that serious. And once again, it just feels more premium than other Switch 2 cases. You do have some adhesive strips on the bottom, which I don't love. I haven't taken them off yet because I haven't actually decided if I'm going to keep this. But once you put the adhesives on, this piece that's a little bit loose here will actually just conform and stick to the tablet itself. And this is just not moving. This is on there and it's secure, and it feels like it's going to protect your Switch, and it certainly seems like that will be the case. It feels very durable, and I think it's going to last for a very long time. The only issue is that because this is kind of a thicker material here and on the kickstand as well, you can't use this with the official dock. Thankfully, dbrand does give you a dock adapter, which I don't have with me right now, but I'll just say the dockability with the dock adapter is very good. I know some people don't like it. They've had some issues with the adapter and the Switch coming in and out of it, but I really haven't had a problem, and it really hasn't been that much of a nuisance to me. I don't dock my Switch that much, so it's not a big deal, and I like that dbrand actually gave you the adapter, because not every company that made a case that wasn't dockable in the normal Nintendo Switch dock actually gives you an adapter to put it in there. So that was pretty cool on their part, which you kind of would expect for the price. Then with the travel kit, you also get this travel cover, which is a plastic. It's very similar to other travel covers that I've tried, like the Savage Raven front cover and the JSOX front cover. The Coops had a front cover as well. It's okay. It does the job. It protects the front of the Switch. And you do have these little game card holders, which work pretty well. Let me show you how the dbrand Killswitch 2 goes into the travel cover. Just put it from the top. You're in, and then you just fit the elastic band into this little holder here. I will say I do have a little bit of trial and error with the elastic. I feel like I don't always get it, and it's got quite a bit of tension, so it is a little bit difficult to actually get it over it, but I think that kind of speaks once again to the premium materials that they're using, because this just feels like a good mechanism. The materials feel good, and overall this is just a very premium product, and I don't think anyone who buys it is going to be saying that they don't feel like they got their money's worth. And I think that's a very good thing, because that's not always the case with some of these other Nintendo Switch 2 cases that I've tried. As you guys have already seen, the dbrand doesn't have a Satisfy Zen Grip type of ergonomic performance, where on the Satisfy Zen Grip you have the handles flaring out. They're much bigger. And to be completely frank, the Zen Grip 2 will probably feel better to most people, especially if you have medium to larger hands. The Zen Grip will probably be a better handheld experience, but for my hands and for what I prefer, the dbrand Killswitch 2 is the perfect handheld experience. So me personally, I don't actually use it. This is what you would expect, right? You would expect my fingers to be like this, kind of like a trigger grip on some of the other cases that I've tried. But if I do that, I feel like I'm too narrow. My right thumb, it's fine for the left because it lines up perfectly with the left thumbstick, but it's a problem with the right, because if I'm too narrow to get here to the right stick, it's just not very comfortable. And if you have larger fingers, I think that's not going to be ideal. So what I do is I kind of use it like I use the Savage Raven stand grip, or even if I would use the naked switch alone. I kind of splay my fingers out like this, and I just feel like that's a better handheld experience to me because I find myself coming a little bit more out and I'm not as narrow. So my shoulders are a little bit more branched out. I guess like a Zen Grip 2 would be, but obviously you don't have a flaring out here. I wish dbrand would have flared these out a little bit more. As you can see, they are a little bit rounded off, but really not enough. I feel like they could have done it a little bit more, and that would have accommodated a wider range of users. But for me, it's just not a big deal. If I'm using it like this, I'm good to go, and I have no issues whatsoever. And it's basically what the Savage Raven stand grip has been for me. That's been my favorite actually grip case that I've used so far, because I just feel like for my hands, it's just the best fit in my opinion. And the dbrand fits similarly, but it feels 10 times better. It feels way more premium. It feels so much better in the hand. And in my opinion, it's just so good that I've literally found myself wanting to play the Switch 2 more just because I have the Killswitch 2. And I think that's probably the best or the highest praise that I give it. The fact that I'm going out of my way to play my Switch 2 because it feels so damn good in this grip. I think that says everything that needs to be said. So while I understand it won't fit everyone's hands and everyone's preferred ergonomics, it's just perfect for me. And then you get into all of the additional benefits of having this. Like, you have accessibility to the kickstand. It's dockable because you have the adapter. If you get the travel kit, you get the travel cover and these thumbsticks, which I love these thumbstick grips. I find them to be much better, much more comfortable, and just better quality than the Savage Raven thumbstick grips that I've been using. And they're a similar price actually. You can also detach the Joy-Cons, which I never did. I guess because I had the stand grip, but also I never felt the need to do it. But now that I have the option, I found myself playing in tabletop mode a little bit more. And it's actually quite nice. I'll just leave the Switch like this with the stand and then just start playing like this. And it's comfortable. And because these Joy-Lock grips just feel so good in the hand, like I'm having a really nice experience just playing like this, which is something that I never thought I would. So it's really gonna come down to whether you wanna pay what it's worth. I wish dbrand would have more, I guess, sales, maybe discounts, promo codes to bring the price down a little bit, because it is expensive. Like, if you buy this at Best Buy and you don't buy it on the dbrand website, you're looking at $85 with taxes included for the travel kit. Actually, at Best Buy, it's only the travel kit, so you don't really have the option to go for the cheaper option. Also, if you buy at Best Buy, you don't get any of the skins, which does come included if you buy on the dbrand website, so something to think about. While it is expensive, and I think it's too expensive, you're getting your money's worth in my opinion. More so than if you were to get the Zen Grip 2. I feel like the dbrand Killswitch just does everything except for maybe handheld feel for larger hands. I feel like the Killswitch 2 just does everything better. It feels better. It feels better made. And I really just love this thing. And I don't know what else to say about it. It's tough to decide if to keep it just because of the money, but this feels like the product that's gonna last you the entirety of the Switch 2's life because of the materials used. They feel very durable and they feel great in your hands. And I don't really see how something's gonna be better, at least for me, for my personal use case. If I were to nitpick two issues, for me it would be that sometimes I feel like the Joy-Cons are a little bit wobbly, and like if you're gonna do it like this, you know, it doesn't fall, but it is creaking a little bit. But who is holding their Switch 2 like that? I really don't get it. And it just places unnecessary stress on the Joy-Con. But they did fix it if you wanted to hold it like that. So sometimes I do feel like it is a little bit wobbly and I do hear a little bit of creaking, but it's very minor and I rarely hear it. And if I'm just playing handheld like this, I don't really hear it and it doesn't bother me at all. The only thing about the fit that bothers me sometimes, but it's very minor and sometimes it doesn't even happen. I guess it depends. Sometimes my palm on the left side here, it kind of digs into this and causes a little bit of discomfort. I only notice it if I'm holding the Switch on top of like a blanket or something in front of me. If I'm holding it like this, with nothing really supporting underneath it, I don't really feel it. And if I'm placing it kind of on top of a pillow, I don't feel it either. So they're very minor nitpicks, and I don't think they're deal breakers in any way, shape, or form. So overall, this has been the best grip case experience that I've had with the Switch 2, kind of bar none. And I honestly don't even think it's been close. I love the materials used, especially on the Joy-Con grips. It feels great in the hand. The ergonomics are pretty good for my use case. The thumbstick grips are awesome quality and they feel really good. The travel cover is quite nice as well. I do wish they would have had like a carrying case, like a Savage Raven EDC carrying case, which this fits in, by the way. This fits into the Savage Raven EDC carrying case. I've tried it myself. So you can actually buy that one and use it with this Killswitch 2. If you don't want the travel cover, you could just get the essential kit that doesn't include the travel cover and then get a Savage Raven EDC carrying case, which is like 20 bucks. So you do have other options if you don't like the travel cover. But as for the grip itself, it's awesome. I highly recommend it. And if you do buy it, I don't think you're gonna feel like it wasn't worth the asking price. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Do you think the Killswitch 2 is worth the price? Do you think it's overpriced? Is it the perfect grip for you? Do you prefer the Zen Grip 2 or do you prefer something else? That'll do it for this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one.